Chapter 2159. It turns out to be her. The pungent smell made Lu Karen realize that Zhang Yi had just experienced a battle. "Brother, where have you been just now?" Zhang Yi smiled without saying anything, but took out a sacrificial spirit and handed it to her. "This is the surprise I promised you. That rich breath of life is the essence of life energy of millions of creatures, and no one can resist its temptation." Lu Karen was stunned. "Is this for me?" She couldn't believe it. This kind of treasure can drive any alien in the world crazy, and countless countries have started wars to fight for it. Zhang Yi went out and came back with a bouquet of flowers, and brought her this? Zhang Yi laughed and said, "It was sent by someone from the Wulwan Empire. They're pretty nice. This, brother, you should keep it for yourself. It would be a pity to give it to me." Lu Karen shook his head. Zhang Yi waved his hand and said, "I don't need this right now. Giving it to you will maximize its effectiveness. Increasing your strength will speed up the construction of the warship, which is very important to us." It is not known when Zhang Yi will be able to absorb all the essences of powerful people, so he does not need to absorb the spirit of sacrifice anymore. Lu Karen no longer refused and accepted the spirit of the sacrifice. "By the way, Karen, I need you to do something now." Zhang Yi recounted what he had just experienced at a very fast speed. He was in a hurry when he went there and didn't think of taking her with him, but now he suddenly had an idea. "We don't know much about the underground world. Can we use this opportunity to get in touch with them?" When Zhang Yi killed those lizard men, the smart devices on their bodies were well preserved. This gave Zhang Yi the idea that he could disguise himself as a lizard man and get in touch with the Wulwan Empire. Then take the opportunity to spy on the secrets of the Wulwan Empire. Zhang Yi called Yang Xinxin as well, and handed over the lizard men who were only breathing their last breath to her, allowing her to peek into their inner secrets. This kind of thing is naturally not a problem for Lu Qian now. She checked all the equipment Zhang Yi brought back. The huge set of space vibration instruments could be very effective when used in special occasions. It also has another function, which is to detect ground vibrations and can even predict earthquakes long in advance. "Brother, this is easy to handle. These devices are not damaged and can be used normally. I can simulate the voices of these lizard men and communicate with the Wulwan Empire." Zhang Yi took a deep breath. "Great. We must try our best to keep the Wulwan Empire from knowing about their demise. I want them to wait in silence for the arrival of the Huaxiu army." Zhang Yi asked Lu Karen to absorb the sacrificial spirit as quickly as possible. Her current ability index is not high, only 19,000 points, so there is a lot of room for improvement. Just by doing industrial manufacturing every day, her abilities will become more and more sophisticated. Yang Xinxin shot an arrow at each of the disabled lizard men one by one and asked them about the situation of the Wulwan Empire during this period of time. As a result, they got some information that surprised them. A terrifying assassin has recently appeared within the Wulwan Empire, specifically targeting powerful aliens for attack. In the past few months, more than 1,000 aliens have died at her hands. Most of them were high-ranking military officers. Zhang Yi's eyes were full of surprise. "Is this really God helping me? It seems that there are also many troubles within the Wulwan Empire." Zhang Yi feels like someone is giving him a pillow when he is sleepy. Does the Wulwan Empire have other enemies? Yang Xinxin also felt that the incident was very sudden. This incident actually broke out shortly after the Wulwan Empire launched a tsunami attack on the Huaxiu Kingdom. Also, according to intelligence, the killer possesses no fewer than 500 supernatural powers, making it very difficult to capture and kill him. As she spoke, she and Zhang Yi looked into each other's eyes. The two people said in unison, "Zhu Yu?" Among all the superhumans they know, there are some who can use multiple abilities. But there's only one person who can use over 500 abilities. Nuba Vermilion Yucca. Even her prototype Yuan Kongya does not possess such ability. The maximum number of abilities that Yuan Kongya can absorb is more than 200. The Zhu recreated with her reproductive cells, Ice Soul, after being transformed by Li Lingxue and cultivated with the resources of the entire Jiangnan region, actually surpassed its prototype. So far, There is still no upper limit to what Jiyu's ability can absorb. Zhang Yi was very surprised. He didn't expect that Jiyu could do such a big thing secretly without showing off. She's really not afraid of death. She's still the same lunatic as before. The she Zhang Yi mentioned not only refers to Zhu Yu, but also includes Yuan Kongya. Zhu Yu, who has half of Yuan Kongya's genes, also inherited Yuan Kongya's crazy personality. You know, even Zhang Yi didn't dare to sneak into the Wulwan Empire. After all, the foundation of an empire cannot be underestimated. The gatekeeper of the underworld cannot kill Zhang Yi on land, but if he is on his own territory, Zhang Yi's possibility of escape will be greatly reduced. However, at present, Zhu Yu has only caused a lot of panic in the Wulwan Empire, and the targets of killing are limited to aliens below the level of by chariot. It will not destroy the foundation of the Wulwan Empire. However, this has helped Huashu Kingdom gain a lot of time. Does Zhu Jing know about this? Zhang Yi narrowed his eyes. He felt that something was wrong. No wonder he hadn't seen Zhu Yu show up when he first arrived in Blizzard City. He always had a certain degree of vigilance towards Zhu Yu. Even though Zhu Yu's strength cannot threaten him now, due to the special nature of her abilities, she can continue to grow. Who knows where she will eventually reach? An unpredictable potential enemy will not be ignored by Zhang Yi. Yang Xinxin held her chin with one hand, thought for a while, and then said, "I don't think this is Zhu Zheng's idea." Zhang Yi looked at her and asked with a smile, "Oh, how do you say it?" Yang Xinxin smiled faintly, with an expression that seemed to see through people's hearts. "Zhu Zheng, he's too old." Zhu Zheng is now in his 60s, which is not an age that is too old. He definitely has enough energy to continue to shine in his job. However, in the 4 years since the end of the world, he has experienced so much that he can only rest for 4 or 5 hours a day. This accelerated his aging, and even with various advanced medical devices and medical mutants, he could not eliminate his inner anxiety. Chapter 2160 The Realm of No Desire. When a person gets older, he tends to be hesitant and hesitant. This is especially true for Zhu Zheng, who has always been plagued by internal and external troubles. Of course, external threats refer to the crisis outside the Jiangnan region and the time bomb Gao Chongkong is. As for internal threats, Yang Xinxin didn't say it, but just glanced at Zhang Yi leisurely. The answer was self-evident. Zhang Yi spread his hands helplessly. "Can you blame me for being so strong?" Indeed, the person Zhu Zheng feared most was Zhang Yi, who was in Tianhai City. He was even more terrifying than Gao Chongkong, who wanted to kill him at this very moment. In short, according to Yang Xinxin's understanding, it is impossible for Zhu Zheng to let go of the most powerful protector around him. Zhu Yu's departure from Blizzard City to seek opportunities to improve his strength outside was a gamble. Zhang Yi crossed his arms and asked, "So, Zhu secretly left Blizzard City on his own?" Thinking of Zhu Zheng's helpless expression when they talked before, Zhang Yi guessed what was going on. Sure enough, she has Yuan Kongya's genes in her body. She's a woman who refuses to settle down. Zhang Yi touched his nose and had complicated feelings towards Zhu Yu. Because she looks almost exactly like Yuan Kongya, and her abilities are completely upgraded versions of Yuan Kongya. Whenever he saw her, Zhang Yi would always bring her into the fold as an old friend, and it was a very subtle feeling. Seeing this, Yang Xinxin said calmly, "That's easy. If you feel embarrassed, I will find an opportunity to kill her." She didn't mind erasing anything that made Zhang Yi feel uneasy. Yang Xinxin has the confidence. Even if she is not an extraordinary person, she can use her brain to set up a killing trap that will surely kill Zhu Yu. Zhang Yi was silent for a while, then shook his head. "Forget it. We'll talk about her later. For now, let her help us delay for a while. With her around, we can temporarily divert the attention of the Wulwan Empire." Still delaying? Yang Xinxin couldn't help but cover her mouth and laughed. "Brother, we prepared everything for the attack 3 months ago. Taking down the Wulwan Empire is a foregone conclusion. How long do you want to prepare for it?" Zhang Yi spread his hands and said as if it was a matter of course, "If I wasn't worried about changes, I would have wanted to elevate the Huashu kingdom to a great god-level civilization like the Ihan clan, and then slap the Wulwan Empire to death with a single blow. It would be best if we could capture them without getting hurt. After all, he took a deep breath, stared at Yang Xinshin, and said very sincerely, I don't want to see anyone around me die. Whether it's you, Xinshin, or my other family members, or the friends I know, I don't want you to die, or even get hurt. But war is cruel, and casualties are inevitable. So I can only do my best to improve my strength and minimize casualties. Yang Xinshin looked at Zhang Yi with a tenderness in her eyes that she had never shown to anyone else. Brother, you are so gentle. Zhang Yi smiled faintly. This world is becoming increasingly dangerous. Sooner or later, the familiar faces around us will die one by one. If we're left alone by then, how lonely will we be? Yang Xinshin nodded and was about to go back to continue arranging the battle plan. Zhang Yi called her and handed her a sacrificial spirit. I gave one to Karan, and this one is yours. After all, I don't need it for the time being. It takes a long time to digest the alien essences in the body, and Zhang Yi likes to maximize the value of all resources. Before the war comes, every bit of improvement you can make for the people around you is a good thing. Yang Xinshin just took a look and shook her head with a smile. Brother, I don't need it either. Zhang Yi was stunned for a moment, and his outstretched hand stopped in midair. Why? Yang Xinshin pointed to her head and said, the essence of superpowers is thinking. I don't want my superpower index to increase too quickly and affect the improvement of my thinking dimension. Zhang Yi lowered his eyes, as if thinking about something. Looking at Yang Cici leaving back, he suddenly understood what Ling meant by the ultimate state of no desire. I can't learn it. Zhang Yi sighed. There are still 2 sacrificial spirits in hand. Zhang Yi doesn't need them himself, so he has to find someone else to deliver them. Zhang Yi rubbed his chin and began to screen the candidates. The absorption of the sacrificial spirit is not unlimited. The more talented a person is, the greater the absorption effect will be. If a fool gets it, his body will be like a sieve and will not be able to retain much energy. Fatty Su is currently unsuitable for absorption. He was just promoted to Ypsilon not long ago and hasn't developed his abilities enough. Giving him the energy would be a waste. Hua, Liang Yu, and the others are strong enough. Uncle Yu is taking the path of mechanical ascension, so he's not too interested in this stuff. After thinking for a long time, Zhang Yi suddenly realized that his companions around him had basically reached a very high level and did not really need to rely on the spirit of sacrifice to significantly increase their strength for the time being. At this moment, a voice came silently. Perhaps, Brother Zhang Yi, could you consider me? The voice was very unfamiliar. It sounded sweet but also a little stiff when calling brother. Zhang Yi looked around but couldn't see who it was. Strange. Why does this voice sound so familiar? His shadow slowly condensed into a human figure from the ground. Mu Yan, dressed in black and wearing a black lace eye mask, stood quietly beside Zhang Yi. She is always like this, with a frighteningly low sense of presence, and she rarely speaks even at home on weekdays. This is not because she is aloof, but because that is her personality. Otherwise, I wouldn't have this ability. Zhang Yi just remembered at this moment that Mu Yan is only at the 9,999 point level of Delta level. Mu Yan's talent is also average, and in Blizzard City, he is just an ordinary captain level. In the shelter, his talent is slightly stronger than Fatty Su and Uncle Yu. That's right, although it may not be polite, Fatty Su and Uncle Yu are not that talented, and their talents are purely due to Zhang Yi's massive resources. But so what? Zhang Yi was happy, and he was happy to share his resources with those around him. It was rare for Mu Yan to take the initiative. Normally, she seldom made any requests. After all, it was an honor to be able to follow Zhang Yi. If not, perhaps she had become Zhu Yu's tonic. Mu Yan felt a little embarrassed being stared at by Zhang Yi, but no one could resist the temptation of improving their life level. The spirit of the sacrifice is just something of some value to Zhang Yi, but if it is placed in the outside world, it is enough to trigger a war between the 2 countries. Even Muyan showed up to ask for it. Stay with me. We'll try to get you more updates. Please like and subscribe and share the video with your friends. Love you all.